Melee is a game where you can literally kill your opponent at 0, so a good punish game isn't just about building percent, it's doing whatever you can that leads to a kill most consistently. The challenge though is that for floaty characters, you often can't get the same kinds of extended combos that you get versus fast fallers, and that can be genuinely confusing for players when you try to port that same approach to floaties. This is especially true if you're used to grinding an Uncle Punch, which encourages you to view a successful punish as one that got you the most percent and had a higher combo counter. Against a lot of floaties, that approach simply doesn't work. In today's video, we're going to teach you an approach to guide your punish game decisions so that you can punish even the floatiest characters in the game. The best part is that this approach will also help versus fast fallers, so let's get started. The secret to a good punish game versus floaties or any character is to consider the game state you create immediately following your combo. So what do I mean by game state? Well, game state describes the specific situation you and your opponent are in after the combo ends. Good punish options attempt to create advantageous game states and avoid even or disadvantageous states. Common advantage states in Melee include putting your opponent off stage, forcing them to recover, putting your opponent in a tech chase situation, putting your opponent in the corner where they have less room to move around, such as the ability to dash back from an attack, and getting your opponent to retreat to the ledge. Getting your opponent above or below you can also be a common advantage state, depending on the matchup and the characters. As a general rule, if your opponent's above you without a double jump, that's pretty much always good for you, but if they have their double jump, it kind of depends on the attacker and defender's movesets. For example, Falco has a much easier time getting down in the air thanks to moves like his down air and his fall speed. Because of these strengths, Falco also likes to attack from above more than other characters. However, even though he has these strengths, when Falco is against a character like Marth, who has great upward-facing hitboxes, being above Marth isn't going to be always a good spot. And on the flip side, a character like Peach has very few ways to interact with opponents directly above her due to the limitations of her hitboxes, which means attacking her from above can be really strong, and she doesn't always want to put people above her. As you can see, it's contextual, but usually if you have your opponent above you, that's generally better just because of the types of moves people have, but you want to give it some thought. Most states of disadvantage are just the opposite of this. Instead of cornering your opponent, you corner yourself. Instead of getting your opponent in a position they struggle to escape from, you're in that position. Instead of being actionable before your opponent, they're actionable before you are. Neutral states are just where both players have access to most or all of their options, which usually happens in the center of the stage. So now we know we ideally want to put ourselves in an advantageous game state, and we know what those states look like, but because each character has strengths and weaknesses, certain game states will be more or less powerful in certain matchups. For example, if you knock Sheik off stage, that's usually a lot stronger than knocking Jigglypuff off stage. Just so we're clear though, in the clips on screen you can clearly see that knocking Jigglypuff off stage here still allowed Jmook to rack up a ton of damage. So it is always important to be aware of your most advantageous game states, but in some matchups those advantages will be more extreme than others. So the secret to improving your punish game is to prioritize creating a state of advantage, and more specifically, an advantage state that's most powerful in a specific matchup. If this concept is a bit confusing still, try to imagine any situation that you wouldn't want to be in versus Marth. That's disadvantage. In my opinion, Marth is probably the best character at leveraging advantageous positions. I mean, he's great at keeping opponents above him. It's super hard to get out of the corner against him because he has disjointed hitboxes and tons of them. He's got lots of ways to follow up on a tech chase, including on reaction, and he has amazing edge guarding tools. The only thing he's not that good at is attacking from above, although he can attack from a diagonal angle because of his sword, but he's basically designed as a character to leverage advantage state. So as long as you can understand intuitively why those spots are strong for Marth, you should be able to understand the next exercise we're about to do. To see this concept in practice, we're going to lab out a Falco vs Sheik punish sequence. Before we do that though, let's first consider Sheik's strengths and weaknesses as a character. Sheik has one of the weakest recoveries among the top tiers, especially when she doesn't have her double jump. Because of this, knocking her off stage is a very strong game state. Similarly, Sheik has poor aerial drift and doesn't have great downward facing hitboxes, which makes sharking her from below more powerful compared to a character like Fox or Falco, who fall quickly, have down air to help them come down, and can shine stall as a way to mix up their timings. Knowing this, getting Sheik above you is also particularly strong, especially if your character has strong upward hitboxes like a Fox up air, which is very easy to kill, or Marth up air, which is really large and hard to deal with. On the other hand, Sheik actually deals with tech chase situations really well. Her tech animations are quite ambiguous, which makes it basically impossible to tech chase her on the ground on reaction, and the distance of her tech rolls are really long. Tech chasing Sheik is stronger on platforms, but if you do fail to cover her on the ground or on a platform, her strong shield and fast moves can create reversal situations. When Sheik is in the corner, her relatively fast dash speed and good zoning tools like F-tilt can make it hard to attack into her, and if she retreats to platforms, she does have decent tools to trick you. So, while she's certainly not strong in the corner, she still has options you need to respect, especially attacking her in the corner can lead to you getting cornered. Knowing all of this, if we were to order the game states in terms of strongest to weakest, it would probably look something like this. And keep in mind, all of these positions are generally good, but knocking Sheik off stage, for example, is really good, and knocking her onto the ground rather than a platform is only okay or straight up bad if it takes Falco longer to get down. If we knock her down below us and she doesn't enter knockdown, it's really bad, and she can often counter hit rather than simply returning to neutral. Remember though, all of this is just in the context of Sheik as a defender. We also want to consider the strengths of your character as well. So now we have a framework for the kind of advantage states we want to create, so let's open up Uncle Punch and try to optimize a punish sequence using this approach. Here we have Sheik at 32% set to a specific DI which you can see on screen, and I've turned Smash DI off just to make this a little bit easier to follow. I'm intentionally going to start every combo with a down air, as that's a very common way to start combos with Falco. First up, let's try down air, shine, down air. One important difference to acknowledge here is how timing affects the knockback stacking of the move. And knockback stacking is outside the scope of this video, but the gist of it is that if you hit someone in the air 10 frames after the previous move, it basically combines the two moves knockback and it won't send you as far. If I delay my down air here, you can see it makes Sheik land below the stage where there is no knockback stacking, but if I do it more immediately, she grabs the ledge because of knockback stacking. I'll break down the difference with this specific down air because it's something that commonly affects pillar combos, but for the rest of my analysis, I'm not going to acknowledge how knockback stacking could change things because it's often just too complex, won't necessarily change the outcome that much, and I'm trying to keep it simple. Anyway, in both cases, it doesn't seem possible to extend the combo like a typical pillar due to the fact that we kind of run out of stage. So with the immediate down air, which you'll get unless you intentionally try to time the down air late, we do get a solid amount of percent, but it puts her on the ledge. If we mistakenly choose to continue the combo with like a down smash, she'll usually have time to counter hit. And this is tricky because that down smash is actually good with the late down air as she lands below the stage and would jump into it if she timed her jump poorly. But if we decided to play it safe because we weren't sure and we back off, Sheik's still on the ledge, which does make her cornered, so this is still to our advantage. However, on the ledge specifically, Sheik can Shino stall and ledge dash and has a lot of strong ledge options. With the late down air, it's definitely a better spot, but like I said, she can mix up her timings and then she ends up on the ledge again in most cases. Also, for the sake of this example, we're focusing on starting this combo in the same spot every time, but if we were further back when the combo started, it would have instead led to a tech chase on the ground, which if we followed up incorrectly, could lead to us getting cornered again or even counter hit. And if we started the combo even a little further back from there, it actually leads to a platform tech chase, which in this spot is actually quite good as you're able to reaction tech chase from here, assuming you land at around the same time that she does, thanks to a fast fall. I'm just bringing that up to demonstrate how this stuff can be really contextual, like here the down air is good, and then it's okay, and then it's bad, all with just a slight change to the starting position. In this specific case, I think we might be able to do better. Let's try down air up tilt. Due to the way that Sheik is DIing, we actually get a tech chase scenario here. Because we're playing Falco and we're on Battlefield, I don't think we can really cover everything here due to the size of the platform. I can try to cover more options like tech in place, tech in, and miss tech all in a row, but after trying it out, it honestly doesn't seem to lead to that much better of a spot than what we were doing before. If I hard read that she techs away, not only is it kind of hard to get the timing on the waveland, even if I do guess right, she doesn't actually die when I hit this. She just ends up down and away off stage, which, don't get me wrong, that's a very good spot to put her in, but we had to take quite a big risk and we don't even get the stock. What if we did down air down tilt? It doesn't really seem like we have enough time to follow up with this DI. What about down air grab? Well, this is okay, but it basically creates the same kind of corner situation we had before, but with less percent. Back throw or down throw just seem worse in almost every way, and up throw does seem kind of hard to follow up on. There's other niche things we could try like down air down smash, but that puts Sheik in a similar spot. We could also do the double down air by doing a late down air into a high down air, but that just leads to a tech chase. You can see in this clip, I even guessed correctly twice in a row, and I get a spot that isn't that much better than what we were doing earlier. We could also do a late down air into an F smash, which is actually quite good, especially on DI out, but this relies on us doing a very late down air, which isn't realistic most of the time. If you don't do it exactly right, they can just shield. So let's try down air shine into different aerials again. As you can see, forward air is decent, it gets a solid amount of percent, and up air is okay, as you can land and try to call out her drift once she's in the air, but neutral air and back air are what seem particularly solid to me. It's true that you can get the weak hit of back air, which you could avoid by doing a nair, but back air does more damage and it sends in a better angle in my opinion. With this simple string, we've now got Sheik off the stage and she has to recover, which will probably lead to more damage and potentially a kill. And the crazy thing about this option is it isn't just a good option if she's holding out. If we set her DI to be holding in on the back air, you can actually just combo that into another back air, or a back air into a down air. You could also choose to do a shine first, but if she DIs correctly, she can escape it, and if you shine her on the wrong side, it can actually send her back onto the stage, which you don't want, because now you're off stage, or maybe you don't get the follow-up. I'd recommend back air, as it seems just a lot more reliable. Overall, with this DI, the simple down air shine back air actually seems like the strongest option, potentially. It sends her off stage, which is the game state we're looking for. It's completely safe for us to do it, and it's really easy to execute. It even still works at higher percents, so it's not specific to this specific percent window, and it works as long as she's close to the ledge. And we don't have to make a complicated or risky read. It's just really good. Hey guys, Radar here from the future. I do want to mention the existence of jump shine. This is something I kind of thought was outside the scope of the video. I still kind of do think that, but I know someone's going to bring it up, so I'll just show you guys what it is. Basically, instead of doing a down air shine and then a down air, we're going to do a down air, a jump, a shine, and then another jump and a waveland. So down air, shine, jump, another jump and a waveland. Looks like this. So obviously you can do some pretty crazy combos with it, and as you can see, like, because I'm jumping like that, I like move with the Sheik. You can see, like, so, you know, I'm going up here and like we're kind of both in the same spot versus this spot. So it just does change things quite a bit, but the reason I didn't think it's like in the scope of the video is like we've already shown how like move it a bit further back, it's a totally different situation. Move it a bit further back, it's now a new situation with the platform tech chases. You add the jump shine, like there's just a whole other set of options that are good or bad. You can see the down air definitely does get better because now she's like more underneath the stage. But I would argue that like a lot of the stuff I said still absolutely applies. The back air is still like very good, if not like better than the down air still. So the main focus here is not to find the absolute best punish option that I've probably forgotten because the game is complex as hell in a really cool way, but just to be mindful of the game state that we want to create and find the best way to create that. So that is the takeaway of this video. It is not you should be back airing to end all of your combos early in every matchup. It is just try to make a good game state, be mindful of what your opponent wants, and kind of go from there. One other thing I'll mention is when you start practicing this, you'll probably still stick to like bad habits in a way. Like you'll end up doing the down air that you don't want because you're so used to pillaring. To get through that, it's the same thing I said in my previous video. You just have to kind of grind Uncle Punch or play friendlies and be really mindful of this. Like be mindful of making new muscle memory because you know it's going to take time. Your hands are so used to being like, and then I down air again. That's what Falco does. But as you practice more, you'll get better at it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments. It might be interesting to do like a deeper dive on like how people lab things in general, although this does give you a pretty good idea. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.